This week on our special annual edition of Free Comic Book Day, yay, is Dr. Solar and Magnus Robot Fighter, Lady Gaga, Puppy Sister, Fractured Fables, Fraggle Rock, Mouse Guard, Shrek, Penguins of Madagascar, Stuff of Legend, City of Bones, War of the Supermen, and Man Thor.
Hey there fans in Comic Land, it's Leila here from the Comic Connection with this week's comic book reviews, and it's a special Free Comic Book Day edition for all the books that are coming out this Saturday that are free to you from your friendly local comic book stores.
But not free to us!
Not free to the stores, so support those stores when you go in to get your free book, buy something, because that's kind of cool and that's what Free Comic Book Day is all about. So first up, we've got War of the Supermen #0, written by James Robinson and Sterling Gates, and art by Eddie Barrows. So in this prologue to the upcoming miniseries from DC, so this is a must-read for you Superman fans. In this issue, Superman confronts Zod about his plan to attack Earth, and an ally, long thought lost, returns. Wow, this book was pretty awesome. It has great art, great story that's going to lead into the biggest Superman event of the year, and it's free. So what's not to like about it? Definitely pick up this one if you can. You're not going to want to miss it. Next up, Man Thor, written by Matt Fraction and art by John Romita Jr. Now in this one, Iron Man and Thor team up to investigate the cause of some massive weather systems that are not responding to Thor's powers, and they learn of a plan to terraform the moon. So this is not bad. I mean, it's pretty good art and it's decent story, and I definitely found I definitely got the Earth Day message in this one. It was a cute little story for Free Comic Book Day. Probably not my favorite thing that Marvel has ever done for Free Comic Book Day, but there is another Marvel book featuring Iron Man, so maybe this one's not the one that you would like. It was okay. Next up, we've got a flip book, the first one being Stuff of Legend. This is about, it came out last year, and it's about a boy who is kidnapped by the boogeyman and taken into the closet realm of the dark, and his toys, his faithful toys, go after him to try and rescue him. So in this Free Comic Book Day book, we get a preview of the Volume 2 that is coming up. And in this one, we see that the toys capture an enemy combatant and try to, and plan to interrogate him about the whereabouts of the boogeyman and the boy. So I gotta say, I love this series. I liked it when we first read it, and I like it now. The art is really great. It's a great story. Not exactly a kid's book, but certainly kid-friendly, but it does have a lot of sort of mature theme in it as well. It's just simply great. If you haven't picked up Stuff of Legend before, this is a good place to try it because it's free, and you're not going to want to miss it. So in the flip book here, City of Bones, this is about a night out of dancing that proves almost fatal for a girl who stumbles onto a supernatural conflict that no one else but her can seem to perceive. I actually really liked this. This is, for again, a preview for an upcoming series that's coming out, which I like that the comic book companies are doing this, giving us new stories that are previews for real things that are coming out, not just reprints. So this is a good thing about some of the books of Free Comic Book Day this year. Definitely, this is a good read. I like the story, like the art, looking forward to the series. Okay, last but not least, we have yet another flip book, the first part being Shrek. In this one, there's two Shrek stories, one about a berry-picking incident and the other about Shrek's parents dropping off to visit. And then in the flip book, Penguins of Madagascar, there are another two stories, one about a birthday surprise and one about stealing some fish. So it's a nice preview for a couple of series coming out. They're okay. I didn't really like the art in either of them, and you're familiar with the content. If you've seen the movies, you're gonna, sort of know what to expect. But the art wasn't that great, and the stories were, very fluffy, even for kids. This is probably for younger kids, not your 10 or 12-year-old kids. So, if you have younger kids that like Shrek, like the Penguins, then they're gonna like this one. I'm not so sure about the upcoming series, but at least you get to try them out for free.
Hey folks, Jim here with this week's comic reviews, and not just any comic reviews, it's our annual Free Comic Book Day reviews. So first up, let's go with Mouse Guard and Fraggle Rock. And in the first story, which is a Mouse Guard story, the Mouse Guard deal with the onset of spring and the dangers it brings. Fantastic art, fantastic story. What else can I really say about Mouse Guard that hasn't been said by so many reviewers before? This is one of the best books on the market today. If you're not reading that Mouse Guard, what the hell is wrong with you? And on the flip side, we have Fraggle Rock. And in this story, Boober tries to figure out who he really is and decides to try being a doozer. And Red tries to get a great gift for the oldest Fraggle. Once again, Great art, great story. If you're a Fraggle Rock fan, you're going to love it. And the best part is, these stories aren't in the new issue #1. So this is the only way to get them. Great story, great art. I love this book. Next up, Fractured Fables. And in this one, your favorite fairy tales get fractured by some of the best in the comics industry. This preview basically features art and stories by Brian Talbot, Doug TenNapel, Christian Ward, Ted McKeever, and more. I actually really like this one. I laughed my ass off at quite a few of the stories, and they're all ages appropriate, so they're good for kids. I like the first story by Brian Talbot, which is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. It doesn't end well for the wolf. Not at all. And the second one by Doug TenNapel, who did Earthworm Jim and a few other really great books and video games, is utterly hilarious. It's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin in a way that you'll never expect. Frickin' funny as all get out. Next up, The Puppy Sister / Lady Gaga. And first up, The Puppy Sister. And in this one, a family gets a new dog and a young boy gets a new sister, who just happens to be that new dog. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know what Blue Water is trying to do with this stuff. The Puppy Sister is all ages appropriate, but putting it in a flip book with a Lady Gaga thing, not a good idea. Really not a good idea. Story-wise, The Puppy Sister is okay so far. It's just a preview, but I actually enjoyed it. Art-wise, not so great. On the flip side, we have Lady Gaga. And in this one, a loner basically living with his mom finds the music of Lady Gaga. And, well, he likes it and stuff like that happens, but there's really no point to it. Really, no point to it at all. The art's terrible, the story's terrible. I don't get why they are doing this. I don't get why they're doing political comics. I don't get why they're doing celebrity comics. It didn't work for the companies in the 80s and 90s. It doesn't work now. Anyway, can you see my poker face, Blue Water? No, bad. It's a bad romance. That's what it is. I'm gonna get on my telephone and call the paparazzi and tell them, no more, please, Blue Water, no more. And last, and certainly not least, is dr.solar / Magnus Robot Fighter. And this, which is a really nice relaunch from Jim Shooter and Dark Horse of the characters of Dr. Solar and Magnus Robot Fighter, we have Dr. Solar trying to defeat a man who has found he has strange new powers, while Magnus gets blinded by the Q-Rob rebels, and they try to rebuild their leader. If you're a fan of the old Valiant stuff, you're not going to like this. This is actually better than that old crap. This is great. Great story, great art. This really brings it back to the classic days of back when Solar and Magnus had their original roots. So if you're a fan of the old school Magnus and Solar, you're going to like this. It's a blast.